For better or for worse, Battle Arena Toshinden defined the Sony PlayStation's launch in North America. This is PlayStation, Year 1. Toshinden was one of the PlayStation's first 10 games available at launch in the United States, debuting alongside the PlayStation hardware itself on September 9th, 1995. It established an early set of expectations for Sony's console, and put it in close competition with Sega's Saturn, released several months prior. Toshinden is a 3D weapons-based fighter featuring a small cast of characters. There's Eiji and Kaien, the game's Ryu and Ken equivalents. There's Foe, a chattering old man with claws for hands. And then there's Sophia, a whip-wielding dominatrix type with a really overdone Russian accent.
Thundering! Thundering!
Sophia played a large role in the PlayStation's marketing stateside, featuring in several magazine advertisements at the time. Despite their limited number of polygons, Toshinden's characters have a great degree of, well, character, making them distinct and memorable enough to front a major console advertising campaign. A smart move on Sony's part. Gameplay-wise, Battle Arena Toshinden plays somewhat like SNK's Neo Geo fighter Samurai Showdown. Players have 4 attack buttons, 2 slashes and 2 kicks, each of varying strength. Street Fighter-like button commands trigger fireballs and other special attacks, and once a character's life meter hits a critical point, they can launch desperation moves that drain a huge amount of their opponent's health if they connect. You shouldn't expect the kind of complexity you'd find in Capcom or SNK fighters, though. Attacks tend to knock your opponents back pretty far, making it difficult to string together combos. Also, some characters' special attacks are so effective that there's little reason to use any of their other moves. Toshinden's defining feature is its 3D movement. You can use the PlayStation controller's shoulder buttons to roll toward or away from the game's camera and evade enemy attacks. It's a simple but effective addition. Dodging lets you easily close the gap on an opponent who's spamming projectile attacks, for instance, letting you get up close for a counterattack. While Toshinden isn't the best-looking PlayStation fighter compared to, say, Tekken, Soul Blade, and others that would follow, it struck a critical blow against Sega's pack-in Saturn game Virtua Fighter. Now, Virtua Fighter is definitely the better game. It has a depth and balance that Toshinden lacks, gameplay-wise. Putting them both side by side, though, Toshinden emerged as a clear winner in terms of presentation. The Sega Saturn was rushed to market early with rough-looking arcade conversions of Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA. Both ports played fine, but they shared a jittery, unfinished look that made them look kinda amateurish compared to Toshinden's smooth frame rate and comparatively slick presentation. Sega would later adapt to the hardware and release upgraded versions of both games with Virtua Fighter Remix and Daytona USA CCE, but at launch, Virtua Fighter especially suffered as a result of rushed development and hardware inexperience. Battle Arena Toshinden was developed by Tamsoft, a Japanese contract developer who was founded in 1992. This was their first credited game. Toshinden's Japanese publisher, Takara, had recently produced 16-bit ports of Neo Geo games like Samurai Showdown and Fatal Fury. Now, I can't confirm this, but I suspect that Takara saw its success with the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis ports of Samurai Showdown, and then they approached Tamsoft with a pitch like, "Hey guys, you should make Samurai Showdown, but like, you know, in 3D and stuff." Thus Toshinden was born. Toshinden was one of the most successful launch titles for the PlayStation, and it saw multiple re-releases and sequels. There are 4 games in the core Toshinden series for the PlayStation, along with a Virtua Fighter Kids-like spin-off called Ni Toshinden, and Puzzle Arena Toshinden, which is a block-dropping puzzle game of all things. Developer Tamsoft never quite achieved the same level of success as it had with Toshinden. Well, at least during the original PlayStation's lifespan. Tamsoft tried to springboard off of Toshinden's popularity by self-publishing its PS1 RPG Guardians Crusade in Japan, but when that fell flat, they went right back to contract development for other publishers. Interestingly, Tamsoft would become notorious in the PlayStation 2 era through its involvement with publisher D3's Simple 2000 series in Japan. Originally a publishing label for low-priced, low-effort sports games with titles like The Bowling and The Billiards, the Simple series spun off in a bizarre direction on the PS2. That's when D3 started to focus on grindhouse-styled games like The Zombie vs. Ambulance and The Miniskirt Police. Tamsoft's releases under the Simple 2000 label include The Daibijin, or The Big Beautiful Woman, a game in which you control a heavily armed helicopter who has to take down a gigantic woman as she rampages through a city. Tamsoft's biggest success in recent years was with the One-Chanbara, a series of 3D action games that are built on a foundation of boobs and gore. What you see here is a sequel for the Nintendo Wii. It was released in North America as One-Chanbara Bikini Zombie Slayers, which pretty much tells you all you need to know about the game right there in the title. Though Tamsoft would only find its true calling years later, Battle Arena Toshinden was an important release for the PlayStation. It gave players an early glimpse at the console's capabilities and its capacity for playable, if limited, 3D fighting games. Better Fighters would be released almost immediately, rendering Toshinden obsolete not even a year after its debut, but as a launch game, it was a simple and effective introduction to the world of PlayStation. Thanks for watching! Next time, we'll take a look at the first 2D fighter released for the PlayStation in North America, Capcom's Street Fighter, the movie. See you then.